I just got back from the gym, so what better time to yell about Trudeau and Jagmeet being absolute cowards who are scared to face Canadians. They know that everything they are doing is damaging Canada and getting Canadians in worse and worse positions. We are becoming a laughingstock, but before that, Canadians are struggling to eat. There's all sorts of things that we hear them continue to lie about over and over, and their lack of care for what happens to Canada and Canadians is becoming more and more evident. So let's get into it.
Food insecurity isn't hidden at nonprofits trying to keep up with demand. This affordable produce market has more than doubled its patrons in 5 months of operation.
I see real life every day of people struggling and being hungry and being so grateful that a service like ours exists.
The disconnect between what those like Mandy Chapman see firsthand and Canada's official poverty rate of roughly 7% prompted a deeper dive into the problem.
What we're seeing on the ground is sort of, we feel should be reflected in what is being used to monitor progress in poverty reduction.
So experts went beyond just income and essentials and used what's called a material deprivation index. They factored in whether people can afford the things others take for granted.
And the reason why this was important to set up for what we're going to talk about with Trudeau and Jagmeet is because we are literally watching, it feels like it's like the Hunger Games or some sort of novel where you have these elites who are so seemingly evil and out of touch while people are literally starving. So, I have friends who make what people would consider a lot of money being actively concerned what they're spending at the grocery store. I can only imagine what lower income Canadians are dealing with. And this is why the resentment is building, because you have Trudeau saying, macroeconomics of Canada are awesome. Canada's in a strong position. We are in such a good position that we can invest in Canadians and give them free stuff and make these problems worse. He is the absolute worst, and these lies are all the people hear. So then people go, Trudeau, I can't eat. How can you say that Canada is doing awesome? So when that happens, they get so angry, and that's what leads to him skipping events like we're going to get into. But let's finish this one first.
Like owning a pair of well-fitted shoes, buying a small gift for family or friends once a year, or participating in special occasions. In the end, the report revealed Canada's hidden poverty rate of 25%.
We're looking at close to 10 million people. And, that's 6 million more than the official poverty rate.
The study also found 30% of young people, more than 44% of single-parent households, and 42% of renters can't afford at least two of the items on the deprivation list. And almost 24% are employed.
I think this really uncovers more of the problem, because oftentimes somebody may be paying their rent, but they're paying their rent at the cost of the other things that they can't do.
This community garden grows fresh food for those who can't afford store prices. Its executive director hopes the report will push policymakers towards long-term change.
If I had the magic wand, I really think a guaranteed basic income is what we need.
The report's authors believe this new measure of poverty can be used to design better government programs to meet the needs of Canadians overlooked until now.
Okay, we definitely need to find a way to help people get taken care of. It's not universal basic income. Let's not get into that. That's not today's topic. I don't think that's a good idea. However, community gardens, support, all those things, great ideas. I really think that we, especially moving forward, guys, I'm going to be honest, I think we are not in for a good 5 years moving forward economically in Canada. I think globally it's going to be rough, but I think it's because Trudeau is his policies right now are going to make things worse. And I think Canadians are realizing that. But the fact is, find communities, like no 10 people within 2 miles of your house so you can rely on for support. And, maybe you guys can figure out some sort of community gardening, some stuff that you can do. Maybe someone who has a lot of land that you're going, hey man, can I plant on your land and I'll take care of it? And he wins too, because they're not going to take care of it. Just find solutions that's going to be able to help us work through this, because it's going to continue to get worse before it gets better. I'm hoping that it does get better, but it will. But we can find solutions in the meantime to be protective and help take care of our families. And now let's get into this video, which I actually think is staggeringly important. So let's get into it.
More than 1 million people are expected to visit the Calgary Stampede this year. But Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is the only political leader saddling up for the event. Both Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh will not be in Calgary. Other than during the pandemic, Trudeau has visited the Stampede every year since becoming Liberal leader in 2013. Political watchers say Trudeau and Singh may be skipping the event to avoid facing any tough questions from constituents or caucus members. And joining me now to talk more about this is
Trudeau is probably fuming that he does not get to put on one of his little costumes and get ready. Like, guys, look, I'm a little cowboy. I've just got my little cowboy boots on. And he's just like, he just gets all like fancy for it and he just has fun. It's just a little dress up occasion for Trudeau. But yeah, of course they don't want to face harsh questions. He cannot go the last time Trudeau went to a festival, I'm sure you guys saw the clips, he went to a, immigrant festival where he generally would be accepted more. He brought 200 police officers. If he went to the Stampede, ooh, he would not be welcome.
Political analyst Laurie Turnbull. Laurie, welcome. Thank you for being here. So I want to ask, what do you make of both Trudeau and Singh skipping out on the Stampede this year? Is this a calculated move?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's the fact that both of them have reasons why they don't want to be there, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to be at the Stampede. I think it just means that they don't want to potentially confront some of the questions that they would get. So, for example, for Jagmeet Singh, Naheed Nenshi has just been elected the leader of the NDP in Alberta by a landslide, and he has been completely straightforward about the fact that he wants to distance himself, even, I think he's used the word divorce, the NDP at the federal level, and I think he sees his own role as a post-partisan, as somebody who wants to chart his own course. He doesn't want the NDP in Alberta to be limited by the political stakes of the NDP at the federal level, and I think he's very serious about that. And so that puts Jagmeet Singh in kind of an odd spot if he's at the Stampede taking pictures with his leader who doesn't want anything to do with him, or the obviousness of not being anywhere near him after this big win. For Trudeau,
yeah, and the Jagmeet and this Nenshi guy, it's not like Albertans overwhelmingly voted for him. It was people in the NDP who voted for their leadership voted for him. Great, another guy with probably foreign interests, who's part of the NDP party, which is great that I'm sure we're all stoked to see. But Jagmeet is such a coward, loser, freak, idiot, and hopefully that was enough ways to describe him, that even his own party's going like, dude, you are such a bad political leader. We as the party are going to distance ourselves from you.
He's clearly in a really difficult political situation right now. And I think the fact that the Calgary MP is one of the people that has been vocal in saying that they want to sit down with Trudeau, that there needs to be a caucus meeting, I think that puts him in a pretty odd spot. I think these days he's being very careful about what he does to try to get through the summer without having this caucus meeting that many people are wondering about. And so I think all in, the politics of it are that both of these leaders are going to sit it out.
Now, Justin Trudeau specifically has visited the Calgary Stampede every year since becoming leader of the Liberal Party in 2013. How significant is it that he's not attending this year?
I think it is significant because the Calgary Stampede is a huge event. It is hugely important to Calgarians and to in the West, right? Like, it's extremely important to cultural life in Western Canada. And I think it's important for political leaders to do things that are outside of the Ottawa bubble and that are outside of Ontario and Quebec. It's, even if this is not the most safe ground for leaders politically, and obviously it's not for the Liberals or for the NDP, but for the Prime Minister not to go to the Stampede, I think is a moment where he could be doing something that does get national and international attention that's hugely important for the province. And it is a moment, even if it's not, again, not safe political ground, but a moment for him to connect with people who are not in that kind of traditional stronghold.
Yeah, they don't want to hear from him. And I don't think people realize how big of a sentiment set this is. Justin Trudeau didn't get to dress like a little cowboy because people hate him so much and nobody wants him there. And I want to emphasize, I'm not making fun of people who dress like cowboys because I actually think if that's part of your culture, that's awesome. And I actually think cowboy boots are kind of cool. So I'm not making fun of that specifically. What I'm making fun of is this elite French guy from Quebec who has no ties with Western Canada at all. And that's the, style of living, the farms, the community, ranching, any of these things, going like, look, I'm a little cowboy. And he's doing his little thing. Like that's the problem I have with, because even Pierre, he's doing the little cowboy thing too, but the difference is he's kind of from, the Western provinces. So I'm not going to speak to his upbringing, but he at least has a little bit more connection to that than like Trudeau being like, I'm a little Montreal boy, just dressed in my cowboy hat. So anyways, not making fun of cowboy hats. I actually like them. Boots, the whole style. I wear a lot of flannel myself. When I'm not wearing my Axe Attack shirt, it's almost exclusively flannels. So
I think it shows something about where we are politically, and that leaders are really focusing on the ridings, the parts in the country where they think they can turn something into a win. They can, they're focusing on those people who might be convinced to vote for them. I think they're being very scrupulous, very particular about how they're spending their time. And Calgary Stampede didn't make the cut this year.
Is there
potentially one of Canada's largest annual events? The Calgary Stampede didn't make the list for Justin Trudeau, the Honorable Prime Minister.
Absence going to help the Conservatives, or do you think people just have their minds made up?
I don't think Trudeau's absence is going to help or hurt or affect the Conservatives. I don't think Trudeau's absence is going to affect them at all. I think it is what it is. Has everybody made up their mind? Probably not. But I don't think that I don't think Trudeau's attendance would change anything for the Conservatives. I don't think they're going to point to his absence, really. They don't have to. Poilievre can show up, flip pancakes, talk to people, shake hands, and do his thing. I think he'll talk about Trudeau's record and talk about Trudeau's policies more than they'll talk about his absence.
Yeah, Trudeau's doing enough things wrong. They don't need to talk about him being too scared to go to the Stampede. There's a laundry list of things he's doing wrong. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a free way to help support the channel if you can't afford to support through other ways. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.